Brawl disrupts Royal Ascot. Bloody brawl erupts between two men amidst prestigious racing event as crowd watches in shock. Beers and champagne under the blazing sun at Royal Ascot turned sour for some attendees, culminating in a shocking and bloody brawl between two well-dressed. Let's get into the thick of it on this AI podcast.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've got a whole stack of material here, research, articles, you name it, and we're going to break down the most interesting bits for you. Today, we're diving into Royal Ascot. And look, if you're just thinking, oh, horse racing, well, it's a lot more complicated than that. The stuff we've gathered paints this really vivid picture, you know? It's this huge spectacle where centuries of tradition meet these moments of just, well, total chaos sometimes. So our mission today, unpack all that. We'll go from the absolute peak of elegance, the royals and everything, straight into some pretty startling stuff. Find out what makes it so fascinating. And yeah, we're definitely going to get into that incident that kind of blew up, the one that showed what happens when you mix high society, blazing heat, and maybe a bit too much bubbly.
Exactly. And the sources we have are incredibly detailed. They give us this real tapestry, showing not just the glossy surface of Ascot, but what's actually going on underneath sometimes. It gives a pretty complete picture of such a major event.
Right. And speaking of what's underneath, let's just jump into it. The sources really highlight this pretty shocking moment, a bloody brawl. Right there, yeah, like a proper fist fight. Apparently, it was these two really sharply dressed guys.
In suits.
Just going at it right in front of everyone. All these stunned spectators, as the reports put it, kind of stole the show from the horses and the royals for a bit. Can you even picture? There's this shocking video doing the rounds.
Oh, yeah, went viral.
Showing them grappling, and then one guy just decks the other. He collapses, and he's visibly bloodied. Got it all over his cream trousers. Grim.
And the setting.
Yeah. Scorching 28-degree seat. People just staring, some shouting, stop, boys. Just.
It is, wow.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, or maybe telling, is that this isn't, well, it's not the first time, is it?
Ah, right. History repeats itself.
Kind of. The accounts mentioned a similar fight just last year. A guy being held back trying to kick someone, ended with a bloody nose, too. So it makes you wonder, how much is this really a shock, and how much is it almost predictable? You have this environment, all the pressure, the alcohol.
Yeah.
It suggests that, underneath all the polish and the tradition, tempers and drink are always simmering right there. It's a real challenge to that image of perfect decorum.
It really is a very human element, I suppose. But okay, let's pivot, because for all the chaos, the defining thing about Ascot is still that incredible splendor, isn't it?
Absolutely. The contrast is stark.
The sources really bring that to life. The visual side of it. Guests showing up in their absolute finest attire. We're talking flamboyant hats, super sharp suits, these bright gowns, really dramatic headpieces. It's like the spirit of Ladies' Day, even without the official prize now.
And connecting that to the bigger picture, the royal presence is just immense. It elevates the whole thing, makes it feel like living history.
Definitely.
The reports detail the grand royal arrival, King Charles and Queen Camilla in that stately horse-drawn landau to open the day.
Right, the classic image.
And they had guests with them, Lady Cavendish, an old-school friend of Camilla's, and Lord Cavendish, plus others like the former Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Hamad, the Marchioness of Lansdowne, and Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Quite the guest list.
And you see other royals, too. Princess Eugenie was spotted, beige top, white hat and skirt. And Tsar Tyndall looked very chic in a baby blue pantsuit and matching hat. They were seen chatting happily with the king.
Nice.
Oh, and Sarah Ferguson was there, too, in black and white polka dots. It's this whole performance, this tradition, that really underpins the event's prestige. It's not just showing up. It's participating in something centuries old.
A living archive of social custom. I like that. But, okay, amidst the fashion and the occasional fight, let's not forget the actual racing. That's the core, right?
The heart of it, yes.
And away from all the social stuff, the track had some big moments. The sources highlight the Commonwealth Cup won by a horse called Time for Sandals.
Trained by Harry Eustace.
Yeah, and the jockey, Richard Kingscote, was buzzing. He said on ITV, she did a spectacular piece of work. I'm delighted for Harry. He's such a good guy. You love to see that.
Genuine excitement there.
Totally. Then there was the Albany Stakes. Won by Venetian's son, Clifford Lee riding. Quite a commanding win, apparently. Beat the favorite, Signora, who was ridden by Ryan Moore at pretty short odds, 15-8. Didn't happen for them.
Interesting.
And Lee, the jockey for Venetian Sun, he said she'd improved massively. Like, she was very babyish, but after that first run, she's come on by maybe 20 pounds. We knew at home we had a very good filly.
Shows how quickly things can change in racing.
For sure. And then the big one, the Gold Cup. Historic race dates back to 1807.
Oh.
Won by a 7-year-old trawler man with William Buick up, apparently just stormed out of the starting stalls and never looked back.
Dominant performance.
Yeah, and get this, it was Trawler Man's 21st race, and he'd been ridden 8 times before by Frankie Dettori.
Ah, the legend. So Buick gets the Gold Cup glory this time. This raises an important point, doesn't it? How does that pure, intense focus of the racing, how does that sit alongside all the surrounding social drama and the glamour? You've got this incredibly high-stakes athletic competition, split seconds mattering, right next to this high-stakes social performance. What does that tell us about what Ascot really is?
That's a great question. Sport versus theater. And speaking of the theater, the sources also looked back at the day before, which was Ladies' Day.
Always a big focus.
Described as elegance, excess, and a few wobbly departures. Which sums it up, maybe.
Possibly.
Again, reinforcing the amazing outfits, even with no official contest. And they mentioned the history, Ladies' Day, going back to 1823.
Right.
Some anonymous poet back then called the women angels, looking sweetly divine. Quite the image.
Different era.
But then, fast forward to now, and alongside the elegance, the reports also note people looking a bit worse for wear, leaving. Needed a strong police presence to keep things in check.
So that initial idea of female elegance, it's evolved. Those wobbly departures are kind of part of the modern picture too, alongside the hats.
Yeah, the excess part of the description.
So if we pull all these threads together, what are we seeing? Royal Ascot isn't just the jewel in the racing calendar. It feels more like a dynamic social experiment.
How so?
Well, it seems the very things that make it grand, the deep tradition, the aspiration, the sheer level of celebration, they also contain the potential for it to unravel, sometimes very publicly.
Like the Brawl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sort of challenges this idea that you can perfectly control any event, especially one with this much pressure and, let's be honest, indulgence. That Brawl, the high fashion, the intense racing, they're all part of this really complex story. It's much more than just watching horses run.
What a ride through these sources, then. We've seen Ascot from, well, pretty much every angle. The absolute height of British tradition, the royals, the amazing races, and then these moments of just raw, unpredictable human behavior that make you kind of stop and think. It really drives home that even in the most carefully managed, prestigious settings, the unexpected can definitely happen. Real life breaks through.
And maybe a final thought for you to mull over. What do these recurring incidents are changing? The fights, the wobbly departures at such a high-profile, historically elegant event, what might they suggest about how social gatherings are changing? Or maybe just about the fundamental challenge of keeping things orderly when you have that potent mix of excitement, high spirits, and, well, lots of drink. What does it really tell us about that tricky balance between celebration and control at any big public event? And maybe, what does it say about us?
Something to definitely think about. We hope digging into these details has given you a richer view of an event that often just looks like hats and horses from afar. See if you spot those contrasts elsewhere. Until next time on The Deep Dive.
What factors do you think contributed to the Brawl at such a prestigious event like Royal Ascot? Don't forget to comment it. Thanks.